What's up, fight fans? And I hope you can hear me okay out there. Hopefully, the stream is live. I believe so. Um, Let me just get set up real quick. All right, man. The picture still looks like shit, bro. I don't like it. You know, show must go on, right? All right. Just let me know if you can hear me all right. If the picture's okay, can somebody just text in the box just to make sure you could at least hear me. Man, I'm really bear with me, man. I'm trying this software, man, and I don't like how the picture's looking, but I'm gonna go with it. Uh, I'm gonna let y'all catch up to me. I think everybody's running a little bit back, but all right. Show must go on. I wanted to get on and touch up on a few things about the Naoya Inoue Japanese fighter and our American fighter Terence Crawford, and a lot of the buzz that's been going back and forth, and some of the announcements that were made during the award shows, and where this really places the Japanese superstar. They have officially given Terence Bud Crawford the pound for pound ranking number one best fighter in the world. So it is official that they gave him that. Interesting enough, I questioned that because a pound for pound ranking system can alter throughout the year. But what does not alter throughout the year is the award for fighter of the year. That's what does not alter. Okay. Case in point, if Terence Crawford was to go out at his next fight and he was to lose, the very next day, the pound for pound ranking will be altered. He would go down in status, meaning you don't lose that award for fighter of the year. Okay. And interesting enough, they gave his coach Bomac the trainer of the year award, which I have no problem with. I think it was, overdue for the amount of belts that Terence Crawford has solidified. I think that was merit, that kind of award. So I kind of wanted to break down a little bit of facts about Terence Crawford because I've been going in so hard with the Japanese superstar to try to prove his point, which is now that's become kind of obvious of what he is, but we're gonna break this down, right? I just want to bring back who Terence Crawford is and what he has done for the sport of boxing, right? Terence Crawford is from Omaha, Nebraska. He started his professional debut career in 2008, and right away from the gate, you saw that he had talent. He soon after rising up the ranks, he fought one of his uh, toughest challengers, Prescott, coming into that fight. He was undefeated. He had a record of 19 fights, and I believe he was 19-15 coming into that fight, and nobody thought he was going to beat Prescott. Mind you, coming into that fight, Prescott had a cancellation in his fight, and Terence Crawford had a cancellation in his fight. So it was kind of an event that was put together, and it was kind of a sink or swim moment in Terence Crawford's career. When he rose over that occasion, people started to take notice. And with every victory, more and more impressive with the next. Terence Crawford really showed in a lot of his performances that he can do a lot of unique things inside of the ring. For instance, he's one of the most fluent fighters I've ever seen switch from southpaw to orthodox so fluently that in fact in some fights I didn't even recognize that he switched. And that is really key because some fighters can only fight from the side they train from. You understand? Some fighters can't fight going to the right, and some fighters can't fight going to the left. Meaning, if he's a righty and he's throwing with his left, make him go to his right. You see, Terence Crawford is fluent in both stance, where that you make him go to the right, he has no problem. Make him go to the left, he has no problem. He can fight righties, lefties. He really showed he was above levels than a lot of guys. Now, being the fact that he signed with Top Rank, when he signed with Top Rank, there was kind of like a stutter in his career and the levels of opposition. Him and his promotion company at the time was bumping heads. Well, what I didn't understand at the time, his contract ran out with Top Rank. And at the time, Terence Crawford was saying he wasn't happy, but he re-signed with Top Rank. It goes to show you that if Top Rank really, really wanted to push these fights for Terence Crawford, they would, right? And at the time, Top Rank, Terence Crawford must have felt like he had really nowhere else to go as far as top promotional company. And he trusted in them again. He was like, okay, Bob, I'm going to sign with you again, but don't screw me. What did Bob Aaron do? Screwed him. Yeah, man. He wasn't giving him the fights that he wanted. And in fact, it goes, he's on social media, Bob Arum, saying he lost money in Terence Crawford's fight, which was not true. He sold out that fight. So having promotional issues and back and forth really stalled out Terence Crawford's career. But I want to keep this in mind that with every opportunity they gave that man, he still rise to the occasion. Victory after victory after victory. And no matter who was trying to stop Terence Crawford, he really did it one of the hardest ways possible. Meaning, he moved up through the division, him himself fighting with the promotional company, not getting the both sides of the street to coincide. He still managed to unify all four belts at 140 pounds. And then with all of that, taking a shot, if you didn't notice, the one belt that Terence Crawford maintained was the WBO. Why? Because the WBO structure allows you to challenge the existing champion in above weight. Throughout his entire career, Terence Crawford has done the same thing the Japanese superstar did, was maintain the WBO because it opens doors for you as a fighter if you want it. And Terence Crawford took full advantage of that. But as you can see, his dancing partner was getting into multiple car accidents, detached retina, and he was kind of waiting around for him. While in the division, Terence Crawford did take care of business in the 140-pound division. His very first fighter was Jeff Horn, which was coming off on a victory over Manny Pacquiao, if you guys remember. Yo, he went into that Jeff Horn fight and he showed Jeff Horn, you are not on my level. You do not belong in the same ring with me. And that was impressive. The way he destroyed Jeff Horn when Manny Pacquiao just went 12 rounds with him and was robbed in a decision because Manny Pacquiao clearly won that fight. Okay. But Terence Crawford didn't leave it up to the judges. He eliminated that shit. He went there to show his skills and to remind the world who he is. Now, I got to admit, he did it one of the toughest ways possible. because he faced Errol Spence Jr. to the 146-pound for 6 years until he cornered him in and made him fight him. You see? And as of right now, you can see some of the things that are happening in boxing. If you weren't aware of this, you guys do know right now that Terence Crawford only has 2 belts right now. They've already stripped him of 2 of the belts. If you're not aware of this, Duran Boots Ennis was awarded the IBF. They stripped Terence Crawford of that belt, right? And I went this morning and I wanted to look up all the champions to get more familiar with all my champions because sometimes belts are exchanging hands, right? Okay. So as far as the 147 division, Terence Crawford is the champion of the WBO and the WBC. Um they're they're in well, he has 3 belts. Terence Crawford has 3 belts as of this morning, but there are talks of him being stripped of the WBA. Okay, I forgot whose name was it that was in there with him that they were talking about it. And interesting enough, I wanted to bring you to that your attention that in fact they're talking about stripping him for the 2nd belt right now. And if I'm not mistaken, before I finish this live stream right now, they should be I'm stripping him of his 2nd belt. Okay, and it goes to show you that in this business is a cutthroat business, right? If you're not out there performing, then the sanctioning bodies will strip you of their belt, meaning that since the time that Terence Crawford fought Errol Spence Jr., he's locked in once again on a rematch claw. Once again, some bullshit comes into play into Terence Crawford's career, and it's coming back to bite him, right? Because now he's still on in limbo waiting for Errol Spence Jr., right? Which in fact yesterday on social media, Errol Spence Jr. has been silent this entire time. And he finally came out and typed in the words, "I'm back." Meaning he's back. He's either back for training or back to move in position for training to sign the fight. There's rumors that the fight's going to be in April. He just typed out the words, "I'm back." That's all he said. He hasn't typed anything since the loss. Those are the first words from what I understand he typed himself, not his fan pages of people typing for him. I'm talking about him. And from what I'm aware, that man has not typed anything but those words as of yesterday. Okay, so you can see in this sport that if you're not fighting, they will strip you, right? Okay, meaning that the Japanese superstar has already fought twice and is already in process of negotiating his next fight for what? April. Right around the time that Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford, dragging their feet on this rematch once again, should be entering the ring, God willing. Let's get this out of the way, unless we have more hiccups or more delays. And then the Japanese superstar fights again, and they haven't even fought. If we come to that point, you're going to see for yourself that the argument's hard to have for Terence Crawford when he's had so many roadblocks in his career. And I'm going to tell you right now that the majority of this shit is not Terence Crawford's fault. And I know that firsthand. I know it. I know for the last 5 years, I've checked Terence Crawford's record, and I have a great memory. For the last 5 years, the only reason why he fought once a year is because of his promotional company. He couldn't get people to fight him. And like I said, when you get that big and that good in the game, people don't want to fight you. And it gets harder to get fights. And what happens? It makes the fighter look bad. It makes Terence Crawford look bad when in fact it's not his fault. So the record doesn't tell the story for Terence Crawford. All the battles in and out of court, it's not because he's going to nightclubs or getting arrested. No, he's fighting his promotional company in court. He's fighting the boxing organization. He's speaking up. They try to blackball him at one point from boxing. And all this shit affects the boxer. And that's why Terence Crawford is not able to put up the numbers to compete against the Japanese superstar that is not dealing with any of these issues. And I'm not making any excuses for Terence Crawford. It is what it is. Men lie, women lie, but the numbers don't. And unfortunately, these are his numbers. You see, he has nothing to be ashamed about, Terence Crawford, at all. Right? He's the first man in boxing history to successfully unify all four belts in two separate weight divisions. You will not be able to take that away from him. No matter who does it after him, guess who was the first? Guess who was the first? You see? So look, yes, the Japanese superstar is really putting up some big numbers. And I spoke about this with you guys, and I told you that the little guy would have to do double the work, didn't I? And then what would happen when he mirrored Terence Crawford in awards? What would happen? And I try to tell you guys about this, that as soon as he did that, they were going to pay attention to his record. They were going to run to the back end of the records because impressively enough, by an eye test, when you look at it and you see Terence Crawford says 40 fights with 31 knockouts, you're willing to go down that road. You're saying to yourself, man, listen, I know this is going to be good. I know that the man that's 40 fights with 31 knockouts. He only didn't knock out 9 people. 9 people. I'll put that against anything. And then you see the Japanese superstars record and you say, man, 26 fights, right? He's like, man, we can put this against each other, no problem. It, on an eye test, you would think so. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. He compacted those 26 fights into his entire career. Yeah, man. And then some. He's truly setting the bar at a level that he's gonna come into his 22nd title fight consecutively. You know, you say that with ease, but the odds of you consecutively holding a kind of record like that, there are not there too many legends in this world that's ever hold that kind of record. Manny Pacquiao wasn't able to do it. Floyd didn't do it. Ali didn't do it. You know, Julio Cesar Chavez didn't do it. You know, jump up through 4 weight divisions and successfully champion after champion after no one's done that. No one's ever done that. So it is really impressive what he's doing, but I don't want to take the eyes and discredit anything that Terence Crawford has achieved. Okay, because if we were looking at their record, yes, okay, granted, the Japanese superstar has a pretty impressive record, but skill wise, what were they both doing in the ring? Now, being that the fact that the Japanese superstar has dominated his opponents the way he has dominated, it makes the viewer question if his opponents were even good to start off with, right? I know for a fact that his opponents were good, and I'm under the assumption that he's really just that good because it goes to show you with the men that he has fought. Some of these men have gone on to be world champions, and some of them have gone on to fight big name opponents after that and successfully win. So it goes to show that his opponents are pretty strong. At least they're at the top of their game. You know, um, as of right now, looking forward, if we was to look, let's say, at the 126, right now for the Japanese superstar, okay, because he's already done conquering the 122. There's not much to talk about there. See, being the fact that he kicked open the front door of the 122 division and took on the two baddest mofos first. That's what he did. He didn't pick a fight with the littlest guy there. No, he kicked open the front door and said, you, Outside. Let's go. You two got the belts. You two are the me. Let's go. He took their straps. Strap season, baby. You know. So if we was to look for him, just to look a little bit into the future, at least one division. Let's not play Fantasy Island. Let's not talk about Tank Davis. Let's not talk about any of that. Let's talk about real stuff. Where's his next division? 126, right? Okay. In the 126, right? You got the newly crowned one, WBO, right? Espinoza, right? He just beat Rosie, right? Okay. Now, Luis Alberto Lopez, the IBF champion, crafty Mexican fighter, skinny, fluid, fast, can take a punch. Um, I'm not gonna say that he's on the same skill, but all skill doesn't look the same. Okay. So until they're in front of each other and it actually exchanging, and I see how much faster the Japanese guy is, and by an eye test in the first round, because usually in the first round with the Japanese superstar, you kind of see if the guy is going to stay in there with him with his punches and he's able to take them fairly well. When Stephen Kubo Fulton went in the first exchange, he still looked solid. He just felt something hard. You know, he wasn't willing to give him too much. He was waiting for openings that he didn't see, Stephen Kubo Fulton. So, sometimes with fighters like that, I have to see. Um, Luis Alberto Lopez, he's a good fighter, but it's tough. It's tough because I'm judging him off the guys he fought. None of those guys are this Japanese superstar. So, the WBA is vacant at the 126. Currently, right now, the WBA is vacant. So that is a belt. I don't think it's going to be vacant for too much longer. Seeing that the fact that the Japanese superstar is going to make a title defense at 122. So once he's gets that out the way, early 2004, probably April, I would see he's a professional. He's right on track with his schedule. I see him coming out in April. It's pretty much going to be the same schedule. He just like a month back. Last year he fought in July. This year he's going to fight in April. So he could squeeze in 3 fights, maybe. I'm not sure. Okay. So as of right now, the WBA is vacant. And the WBC, right? Ray Vargas, uh, yeah, 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 yeah. I think Ray Vargas, um, would oppose and give the Japanese superstar a decent fight. A decent fight. Um, there's a fighter that I'm not saying that has more power, more speed. I just think, he's big enough. I think he's smart enough. I think he has a good ring IQ. I'm not sure what kind of performance or game plan he would have going into that type of fight. I'm not going to hold him to any other fighter. I understand that there's a point in a fighter's career where that there's a dancing partner that really keeps you up at night. And every day you're going back to the gym and you're working that much harder to prepare for that guy. That guy is out there for everyone. And when you get a name like this that comes across your table, this is that name that you go in extra. You run the extra mile. So coming up against this Japanese superstar, his hype, the momentum that he has in the sport right now, and what he's trying to solidify, to be talked about as one of the greatest among the legends. So he will be coming to America, like Eddie Murphy, baby. And I believe that, with a lot of his fights and the future champions that are there. Now, Espinosa, he is a tall Mexican. He pulled the upset over Rosie, whether or not I believe they're going to run that back. And the way Ramirez was winning that fight in the beginning, that's why I still talk about him like he's the champion. Because I believe that that was a fluke, man. He even got the upset of the year. So I believe the Cuban superstar is going to get his belt back. I hope so. I hope so because that was the fighter because of his fight. Okay. And the fact that, the Cubans are good fighters. They're good fighters. So I said to myself, you know, he would give him a great fight. I thought that the Cuban superstar would move around pretty well, being that the fact that he lost. And plus, being the height difference, I'd rather the Japanese dude fight the Cuban dude. He's a little bit more shorter than that. Yo, that dude was big as hell, man. Ramirez was throwing punches like this at him. It was crazy. So those are the guys at 126, right? Oh, and I wanted to touch up on one more thing, one more answer. Somebody asked me this, and I just wanted to clarify this, right? At the 118-pound, right, where the Japanese superstar vacated all his belts, his brother currently holds the WBA. Jason Maloney holds the WBO. Emmanuel Rodriguez holds the IBF, which is my man was correct. And then Alexander holds the WBC. Alexander Santiago, he owns the WBC. So it goes to show you. Look at Jason Maloney, Emmanuel Rodriguez. Once the Japanese superstar left the division, they became world champions. Had it not been for the Japanese superstar, those men are good enough to be world champions. And that's what I talk about. Those are good opponents. They're world champion opponent. You see? So that speaks volume right there. You know? It goes to show. And I also believe in due time, Stephen Kubo Fulton will become champion again. Somewhere in the brackets, he's going to sneak in and get himself a belt. And I hope he does it now. I thought about this, that the Japanese superstar beat him at 122. I said this before that I thought that they would meet again in the near future, right? Where that Stephen Kubo Fulton, right now, the WBA is vacant at 126. He could challenge for the vacant WBA and probably be the champion. And who knows, probably meet up with the Japanese superstar again and try to get his get backs. You know what I'm saying? Let's read some of these messages. Man, I don't even got you guys. Okay, here we go. Let me turn that shit down. All right. Uh, what's up? All right. Ben, what's up? What's that say? Fire? Did that say fire? Firebug? What's up? Monster, anyway, number one pound for pound, the best fighter today, second Crawford. Mayweather will do. Yo, Ben, you can't put Mayweather on the pound for pound list. You can't. There's not really like an all-time list. That's just us fans, throwing shit around, which is pretty cool, right? But the only way you get on the pound for pound list in today's time is that you have to be a current active fighter. The only people on the list are current active fighters. These are our legends. Our legends. He once he retired, he's no longer qualified to get on the list. So we can't bring him to the argument. But I agree with you. And it's not really my opinion. I believe a lot of fans believe this way. They're taking the fact that Terence Crawford, his claim to fame for the number one pound for pound spot is that he beat a pound for pound top five fighter, and he beat more than one, right? Okay. He's also saying that he unified all four belts, right? But Terence Crawford it has only fought one time. He wants all this credit and all this recognition for just one fight in this year. That's what he wants. I know that the other fight was real close, and I kind of counted as two, because, it was within a year span. It was. It might have been in the other year, but it was within a year span, you know. So, but technically on the date, he only fought once a year. So I understand that Terence Crawford is asking a lot, but he's also deserving of a lot that he was withheld from. And that's a lot to say when you were looking for credit, for recognition, when you were going through a lot of shit in your life and boxing was trying to blackball you. And during that time, you was doing some impressive shit that you were like, look at me over here. And they kind of didn't acknowledge you, right? I believe in one of the years, he unifies all four belts at 140, and they gave Fighter of the Year to like Vasil High-Tech Lomachenko or something, right? In that same year. And he was like, yo, how the hell are you going to give him Fighter of the Year when I just unified all four belts, which was the biggest accomplishment in all of boxing in your division? And that's how they were showing a lot of favoritism to different fighters. And I feel Terence Crawford, man. Yo, there was a lot of times in a lot of awards he was deserving of the awards. And he took it on the chin like a man. He took it on the chin. He was like, all right. And he just kept fighting and kept winning. But now when do you say enough is enough? Yo, everybody, look at me. And it's true. This guy is putting up some impressive numbers, the Japanese superstar, and it's coming during a bad era for Terence. He's campaigning for like, hold up, man. I did all this shit, bro. And none of y'all acknowledging me because now this guy is doing some other shit. Like I see where Terence Crawford's at. I see it. But that's not the Japanese superstar's fault. None of that shit is. That's not his problem. He's doing his job. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's trying to get his family on the map. He's trying to bring his people with him. He's not concerned. He doesn't feel bad, unfortunately, Mr. Terence Crawford, for what's going on with you. I get it, Terence. I get it, bro. I get it, dog, man. You've done so much, and you're continuously adding with every fight. But with all the bullshit that's behind you, with everything you had to tie yourself into, chasing Errol Spence Jr., agreeing to a rematch. Had it not been for that rematch clause, he could be fighting Saul Canelo Alvarez on some crazy shit. Who knows? He could have said, you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to try it. I don't know. But he would have had the option to do whatever the hell he wanted. And one option in particular that was very feasible, challenge Jamel Charlo for the 154-pound straps. Oh, which Jamel Charlo too, 154-pound. That was something I wanted to check in with too. 154-pound strap. Jamel Charlo has two belts now. He has the WBA and the WBC. The IBF has been recently stripped, and the WBO was stripped and upgraded to Tim Tszyu. So he doesn't have the IBF anymore, according to the boxing champions. He woke up this morning with only two belts. Yeah. So as you can see, the boxing people are not playing when you're sitting on a shelf. They didn't tell him to go off and fight Saul Canelo Alvarez. No one told him to do that. He did that upon himself. That was a career move done to him. The sanctioning bodies are a business that they're a cutthroat business. They're what you do for me lately. That's it. So, that's what kind of shit it's on. So Terence Crawford could have, gone out of that rematch clause, and he could have been fighting for him or any of the vacant belts right now, or even Tim Tszyu, putting himself to be in a fourth division and on his way of possibly unifying a third time. Very feasible for a man of his skill, Terence Crawford. Being that the fact that once upon a time, Jamel had the three. He would have been coming off that massive ass whooping that he gave Errol Spence Jr. and fell right in line with that. Perhaps if he didn't have that rematch clause, Jamel Charlo would have never went and fought Saul Canelo Alvarez because legally he would have been able to start negotiation. With the rematch clause in effect, he can't talk to no one. He can legally he cannot talk. You schedule no fight when you got a rematch clause. They'll sue the shit out of you. There's nothing you can do. So since his name wasn't on the table, there was nothing to talk about. And those fires soon burnt out because he once again put himself in a position he really didn't want to be in. Terence Crawford. You see? A lot of things happen in the sport of boxing, and I can really see and I could feel Crawford's pain. I could feel his issue and his argument. And some people are going on social media saying that he's looking stupid. He looks like he's desperate. He's begging. Nah, that's not desperate. That's not begging, bro. That's you fed up with everybody not acknowledging half the shit you've done. And a lot of the shit that he did, he never got credit for, being the fact that he came in, Corona epidemic, blackball, going to court with his promotional company. All this shit. It was just so much stuff in between, and I remember it. I remember it. And he's like, bro, this is not a man crying or whining about it. This is a man that's fucking fed up with all the shit we talk about that all these boxing people do. And when a man finally gets on social media and says, yo, man, fuck that, bro. I'm the best. Is there anything wrong with that? What was wrong with what he was doing and saying? I understand it looked kind of desperate because if you didn't really know the ins and outs or the stories behind it all, it kind of made him look that way. You see? But I'm a boxing historian. I remember all this shit. I remember everything he was going through and the times and places. I don't forget that because I add all that into the equation. You know how we get down here at Round One Sports Talk, baby. That's why you here. Because I'll remind you of everything that happened. And look, skill wise is where we need to be at talking. And that's very, very, very difficult to judge because even me on an eye test, you see, there are a lot of things that the Japanese superstar still has not answered for me. And it has nothing to do with him. It's just that no fighter's been able to do it to him. I don't think he should allow them to do it just to prove me wrong or right, right? If he continues to be this dominant, well, then continue to be this dominant. But when he gets in certain situations and if fighters are able to do certain things, well, then that's where I would like to see. And there's a few yets, to be answered for me. But as of right now, he is truly impressive. And I don't know if some of those yets are ever going to occur. That's how dominant he looks. You see? Oh, Ismail, what's up? T4, Husky, what's up? Yeah, I'm growing this channel as fast as I can, baby. Hey, people, they tune in because you know how we do here around One Sports Talk, baby. Uh yeah, listen, this is a very interesting debate, and both men have the right and the claim to pound for pound best fighter of the year. They also have the right to be called fighter of the year. Now, the Japanese superstar got this award, Terence Crawford. Let me mind you, I believe in 1 or 2 years, he got it like back to back. He's gotten this award several times before. But when it's all said and done at the end of your career, just like Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady one time, and the awards that they gave out, they gave the award to, I think it was defensive lineman of the Rams, right? Number 99 there. I forget his name. It evades me right now. And the reason why they didn't give Tom Brady the award that year is they said, yo, Tom, you won it too many times. Don't you think it's about time we should allow someone else to win the award? Now, when they did that, the announcers, they all jokingly laughed. Ah, Tom, you won it so much. Give somebody else. Aaron Donald is his name. He goes, give somebody else an opportunity to win the award. Now, I was really upset. I was pissed because I put myself in the shoes of Tom Brady's son that's sitting at home looking at the TV and saying, Dad, you mean to tell me that if you're too good at what you do, they won't give you the award if you win it that many times? What kind of message are you sending to his kids? To any kid out there? They blatantly came on and said, yeah, we're giving it to Aaron Donald because technically, Tom Brady, you won it too many times. The fuck you mean? So you're taking away one award away from me to add on to my legacy because I won it too many times? So that's what Terence Crawford is saying. So what if I won the award? I want to win it 100 times. I want to win it every freaking year. That's a man that is still passionate about the sport. He still gives a fuck about a damn award. How competitive are you? Yo, that man is motivated, dedicated. Terence Crawford is almost a mirror image of the Japanese superstar. Their style of level of dedication to the sport is the same. They might not look the same. They might not fight the same. They might not be the same color or the same height. They got that same warrior spirit and competitive nature deep inside of them. You can you can see it that they're like little crazy people inside. All the legends and all the greats are like that. All the GOATs. They got a little psychotic inside of them. And you can see it in both men. Naoya Inoue, after the fight, gives you that little evil grin. Like, please, you really thought you was going to beat me? I got this. Yo, there is something sinister going in that little Japanese mind. You can't be fooled by the image or the big eyes or that self-settled look because what he's doing, what does it say? It says otherwise. He's a real killer, bro. And to be that kind of man and to turn it on like that, you're fighting inside your head and you're just waiting to let it out. So Terence Crawford, man, hats off to you, brother. I come in your defense because of the fact that I understand what the road you traveled. I understand what they did to you, brother. I understand that all the fights that were rescheduled and not scheduled, how many times they told us that Errol Spence Jr. fight was going to be scheduled? Yo, they dangled a carrot in front of this man's face. And because of the fact he didn't want to lose his position, right, he stood there. He did everything he needed to do to get where he needed to be. And finally, when he finally got to his greatest achievement, here comes this little Japanese dude, and everybody else is taking the cameras off him and put him, and he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a minute. It's right here, man. This can't be happening to me right now. Not again. That's kind of like I think he's feeling. This is his body of work, brothers, we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen. This is a man's career. This is his life work. Everything he went through in his life, man. You could put him against any fucking bone, when people that they get are what are they called? They look for fossils and shit. He's got a 20, 30-year career. I've been doing this my whole life. That's exactly what Terence Crawford's been doing his whole life. And I hear him. I hear him. Just because I'm good at something and I'm that good at it or I won the award before, you're going to look me over because there's something shiny. I don't care about that. I want the award all the time. Because when I end, it'll say I won this many of them back to back for this many years, and I get it. You know, that's bullshit. Let me answer some of these. Victor, what's up, baby? That last punch that he went through his high guard, that big right, that is so high level shit. Some high level shit. Actually, if you go back and watch the fight, I think you might be talking about this shot. The actual shot that knocked out Tapales wasn't the last shot he hit him with. It was the shot just before that shot. He never recovered from that shot. When he hit him, the just before he knocked him out, go watch it, right? Just before the last shot. The last shot did not knock him out. That punch he hit him with just before that. He hit him with a good one. Boom! And Tapales noticing his body. He stops. He's like, he's trying to play it off. That shot really hurt him. And the last shot was just a nail in the coffin. He had taken too much. He was too much damage. I believe Tapales had a good poker face. I don't think that Tapales showed him anything. I think he was a lot more hurt than all of us were led to believe, by looking at him. Like, I didn't think he was that hurt, but he must have been, really, really, really hurt. So, yeah, all those punches weighed on him, and he couldn't deal with it anymore. He couldn't deal with it. It was it was it was tough for him. Top dog, what's up? You know, you know, the Japanese superstar, the way he came up and dispersed through his competition. And the fact that back then, when I was trying to tell my viewers and my subscribers that this guy was really making noise, but not a lot of people were taking him serious or paying attention to him. I mean, a lot of commentators would acknowledge his skill, but since he wasn't from the U.S., out of sight, out of mind, they were always covering U.S. fighters and so forth and so forth. So the Japanese superstar, when he was making his rise through the division, I knew at one point in time they were going to have to go back and take a look of all the bodies he left in his way, and the wreckage that he caused, because they were going to come into play in later in his career. Now, what's important here is that, look, imagine this, that you were a boxer and that you had to climb up four weight divisions, unify in two separate weight divisions, all four belts, and stay undefeated, never even been knocked down, win the majority of your rounds just for the world to acknowledge you, for the world to finally open their eyes and go, according to the rest of the world, his career just started. Yeah. Everybody wants to see what he does from here on in now. All that stuff he did to get here, imagine that you had to do all of that just to get there, and now they're starting to recognize you. The Japanese superstar hasn't had an easy road neither. And now that he's here, now everybody's saying, now we want to see who he knocks out. What do you mean you want to see who I knocked out? I left a trail of bodies in my way. Look how hard what I did. Look at all the stuff I did. Everybody's like, yeah, 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 you got that, but let's see what you do next. It's crazy. That's how the sport is. More blood, more blood. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? No? Bring out more blood. That's what this sport's about. But it's also about real skill. real skill. And it's beautiful to watch men and women that are real skilled in their craft. They really set themselves apart from everyone else, and you can see it right away. There are a lot of big fights right now that are trying to be signed. Rumors say that Devin Haney is trying to sign a fight with none other than Ryan Garcia, which is a foolish fight for the kid Ryan Garcia. You might have come up together. You might have a big name, but your skill levels are far apart. You're just fighting Devin Haney because you know that it's a big money fight. But if Ryan Garcia really thinks this through, that's not the fight he's going to want to take. Mind you, you're just coming off of a loss. You fight Devin Haney, baby, that's another loss. It just depends how Devin Haney wants to end it. Okay? But that is a loss. Okay? So your next fight after that, you're going to be coming off two consecutive losses. Like, okay, well, he won that. Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah. Look, he can't fight Devin Haney right now. He can't fight Devin Haney right now. There's nothing inside of my head that's going to make me foolishly say, because I'm looking for something and I was looking for something to say for Ryan Garcia. There is no way that Ryan Garcia in God's green earth can beat Devin Haney unless he got a Hail Mary lucky punch some freaking miraculous way. Because he almost looked amateurish against Tank Davis. And you're not going to come off of a performance with Tank Davis like that. I understand, yeah, you lost with Tank Davis and then you switched up coaches and then you just won this other fight right here. But he really didn't even look that impressive there. What kind of shoulder roll was that where you were turning your back in the middle of the ring? Don't do that against Devin Haney. I don't even know what the hell that was, right? That it was so bad that I almost didn't even remember that fight. Okay, so you know, so he's coming off a loss, a win, and he's going to go into this. No, he's still not ready for him, for the likes of a fighter like that. I believe Devin Haney should fight Subriel Matias. I think he should fight him. In fact, he sent over Subriel Matias, not one offer, but two offers, and Subriel maxed himself out. He's asking for $4 million, which in his last fight, he only made $100,000. How the hell are you going to ask me for $4 million in your last fight? You only made $100,000. So we're offering you like 1.8 million or so, or $2 million, somewhere in that range, and he's saying no. He wants $4 million. That's almost like fucking 8 times, 9 times the amount of money you ever made in your whole fucking career. So when a fighter does that, he's pricing himself out on purpose so that you don't take the fight. You know what I mean? So I really thought that Ryan Garcia should fight Rolly. It was reported that the WBA was vacant, and then it said in real small fine parentheses that Rolly is the WBA champion. I think they upgraded him as the regular one. So I believe that that fight should have gone. It should have been Rolly and Ryan Garcia. I believe they're in the same ballpark. I believe Rolly might be stronger, but I do believe that Ryan is faster and slicker, and that check hook is no joke. He just got to get a little bit more skills with what he has. Because Ryan Garcia, make no mistake, he has skills. He has all the skills and the potential of becoming a great boxer. He just got to apply himself better in the gym and get more experience. You see, there hasn't been a lot of boxers that have been given high praises for an amateur career record. Visio High-Tech Lomachenko. But I always got to remind viewers, bro, that's amateur. That's 3 rounds. That's 3 rounds. Like, just because you had 200 amateur fights, 300 amateur fights, doesn't mean you're going to be a good professional fighter. There are hundreds of professional fighters that did not fare well in the amateurs. Case in point, Terence Bud Crawford. Terence Bud Crawford's amateur record is not that good. He's not that, but guess what his professional record is? 0 losses. You see what I'm saying? He's a better professional fighter. There's better amateur fighters, but like them Cuban dudes. A lot of Cuban superstars were great amateur fighters, gold medalists, Cuban fighters. But they when they come to boxing, pro fighting, they don't fare that well. I mean, there has been a few, but to have gold medals, you know, nah, they're not that good pros. They're not. Some of them are, but not all of them. They don't fare well. A lot of amateur gold medalists don't always transition into the word champion. For God's sake, let's just keep this in mind. Floyd Mayweather is not a gold medalist. He won the bronze medal in the Olympics. The bronze. And he's probably one of the most dominant champions in the sport, right? He's one of the biggest legends. He's one of them, right? So it goes to show you gold medal does not translate over into world champion and success. It doesn't always translate like that. What up, Al? Mhm. That was a dig move about Terence Crawford. Well, if then I guess you're gonna have to rewind this video because in the beginning of this video I talked all about that. I don't know if you was around the entire video, but I understood where Terence Crawford was coming from. I understand it looked like a dick move, bro. It did. And it kind of made him look desperate or bad, right? And I get it. But in the situation that he was in and all the events leading up, his competitive nature, the times he was screwed over for the award, him unifying, and already getting yourself, your whole life's work to that moment where that you were like, hey, look at the world. I want to really soak this in for a long time. And from the moment he won, he owned 6 months later, somebody did the same thing. It was like you didn't even get to bath and bathing and fully accept what he did. It was like it took him a lifetime to get to that moment to unify two separate weight divisions, and within 6 months, somebody already did it. Your time they took away your shine. Like, man, that had to suck, bro. That had to fucking suck, man. Like, share the spotlight, bro. I don't want to share the spotlight. I worked my whole life to get right here, and all of a sudden, I'm all 4 belts, two divisions. I'm like, yeah, bro. Not even 1 year riding around in the parade. They stopped the parade mid. Yo, somebody already did it. Everybody ran. The cameras ran. You're like, what? Yo, bro. Yo, man. I can imagine. I can imagine. In a quick moment of desperation, he took to social media to plead his case. He took to social media to plead his case, man. And it wasn't, it was kind of like, yo, really just remember me, man. Remember me. He was trying to remind the fight fans to remember him, damn it. You know, he didn't do anything wrong. He did his job, Terence Crawford, man. It's just that finally what I was talking about, this Japanese superstar's body of work one day was going to come into play and people were going to wake up. The people, the powers that be. They were going to be like, and Bob Arum, he was right there. Check this out, bro. Yo, right here. You know he wants his fighter to have fight of the year because that reflects top rank, So Bob Arum wasn't fucking, it's right here. Yo, and now it seems like Terence Crawford never really got his just dues. He never got his full credit for what he truly accomplished. Remember that ringside belt they made specially for him? It was like the ringside with like the white. It was a special made belt to unify the first man to ever secure all 4 belts in 2 separate weight divisions. They made him a belt. Bro, that belt didn't last 6 months. Mother. Oh, oh, that's gotta burn. That's gotta burn. That's gotta burn, bro. That's gotta hurt, man. It's got to. Fuck you, man. I fought my whole life to get here. Oh, that's crazy, man. So, song. Yup, I like Crawford better what? When he just kept quiet and fought. Yeah, true, true. I mean, Terence Crawford, um, that's not his thing, and as a fighter, it's a bad look. Bro, you gotta be shitting me. Do we see a donation? Hey, Ron, what's up, baby? Yo, laser bait. Thing is that what Naoya did is going to be harder to repeat. 2 time in a calendar year, that's gonna be some shit to repeat. That's gonna be really hard to repeat. Um, that's crazy. You know what makes it so special though? Laser beam, check this out, right? His first 4 belts, he never fought anybody that had 3 freaking belts or the 2 belts, right? In the first 118. He went and got those individually. In the amount of time it took him to get 4 belts individually. Not like you fight one guy and you win 3 belts or 2 belts. No, he didn't do it that way. He got them individually the first ones. Then he comes to the second weight division and he fought 2 guys that had 2 belts apiece. And he pulled that off. Meaning, yo, in order for you to do that in that amount of time, the stars have to align just right. The pieces have to all be there. You go into the next weight division, you might have to track down every belt individually, right? You might have to track down every belt individually. Or would the guy that has 2 belts or 3 belts finally fight you? You see? So the way he did it and all the powers that be that actually helped the Japanese superstar, and I talk about this, they should. They should allow him to fight these fights. And they should try to beat him on the up and up. I'm curious. I want to see how far he can go. The other day I talk about this. I always forget about the 105 division because that's like you're dying, right? If you're 105 pounds and they talking about the guys at 108 are real big guys for that dude, that's not really yo. But from 108 he came. He came from 108, man. And I just want to see how far can your skill really take you. I'm really curious to see that. I want to see for one of the first times one of those fighters that his career actually ends well, that he retires well, and that he fights well. I'm not saying that the Japanese superstars are superhuman or superman. One day he might be defeated. Who knows? Or maybe he might ride into the sunset undefeated. Who knows? Right? But I would like to see how far he goes. And as far as Terence Crawford, you're right. He should stick to the fighting and less talking. He should put more pressure on other people to get him out of situation and kind of not lay back and leave it to his promotional teams and his management. Really start threatening some people that they're going to lose their job and they'll start hiring some other people if you can't get it done type shit. Don't surround yourself with yes men, and everybody yes champ, yes champ, yes champ. No, hurry up and get me this damn fight before I can get out of this rematch so that he can continue to try to put something on the Japanese superstar. You see, I see what they did. They gave it to Terence Crawford the pound for pound, and they gave Naoya Inoue the fighter of the year. Well, actually, let me retract both those statements. They didn't give the Japanese superstar shit he didn't deserve or he didn't earn on his own. So they didn't give him anything. He deserved that fighter of the year award and much more. But by pleasing Terence Crawford, at least acknowledge him for pound supremacy and acknowledging that he is still the best fighter in the world, at least, that is also a pleasing the masses. You got these guys saying yes on this end, and for the Japanese superstar, they're happy for him on this end. But no one is truly happy until we get a definitive answer on who is the best fighter in the world. The Japanese superstar is making he ain't slowing down and he ain't keeping it a secret. He's already in negotiation for his next fight. He's got these people pushing that paperwork out there. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. I got no time to waste, and that's the problem with boxing right now. Terence Crawford can't do shit until Errol Spence Jr. And like I reported, Errol Spence Jr. texted out, I'm back. Let's see what happens with that. I really believe that both these men right now, we are in a real unique era of boxing, man. We got these kind of elite fighters and much more. We're talking about the two top best. Let's talk about the people just behind these two men. What do we have behind them? We got Junto Nakatoni for the Japanese behind the Japanese superstar. We have other Japanese fighters that are making their way behind the Japanese superstar that are phenomenal fighters. Okay? Behind the American side, Terence Crawford. You got Devin Haney, which, mind you, just in case you want to know this, maybe if it's important to you, Terence Crawford didn't even get runner-up for the award. You guys do know that, right? You know who got the runner-up for the award for Fighter of the Year? Naoya Inoue lost to. He lost to. Naoya Inoue beat out Devin Haney. Devin Haney got runner-up for the award. Yes, not Terence Crawford. So it was Naoya Inoue and Devin Haney for Fighter of the Year. So behind Terence Crawford right now, it's fighters like Devin Haney, Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson. We have fighters. The list just goes on. Frank the Ghost Martin. You know, you're just going to get so many great American fighters right now. So, and boxing is really, really, really in a good place. And we have a lot of big fights. I can't wait to see, the next time Tank Davis is finally in this ring. I really want to see Tank Davis back in action. There's a lot of fighters that I want to see back in action. I want to see Teofimo Lopez back inside of that ring. Uh, a good fight at 140 for me. If Devin Haney doesn't fight Saul Matias, I believe Teofimo Lopez should. That would be an amazing fight. I think those two guys will really slug it out. I always say this, that it's Tio's competition. It's the level for Tio. And fighters like the Japanese superstar talked about this going in the fight with Tapales. The first thing the announcer said when the bell rang, they asked the Japanese superstar, why don't you take a tune-up fight? He said, I don't got the mental strength to take a tune-up fight. I need maximum motivation. I need to know that this fight means something and that it's for something. No tune-up fight that's not for no belts. No tune-up fight that doesn't really mean nothing. That doesn't really boost you up in the rankings or in your record. He said, "No, I can't fight like that. I can't fight like that." The Japanese superstar admitted that he doesn't have the mental strength to do no fake shit, no dumb shit, no ducking shit. He ain't about that life. What he's about is that action, straight up and down. That's all he wants is that action. What? You the best? You got a belt? Let's go. That's all he wants. He wants the smoke, all the smoke, and he's taking it all. You can't say he's ducking anybody ever. 21, 22, coming on his 22nd consecutive world title fight, he's ducking somebody. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. You mean they ducking him? You know? It's just truly remarkable what he's doing. And I look, man, I feel for Terence Crawford at the end of the day, but he has nothing to be ashamed about. For God's sake, look who he is. Look at who he is. And look at the accomplishments as a fighter. Look at his record. His record is crazy, right? 40 fights, 31 knockouts, right? He only knock out 9 people. His record is crazy too. You know, will he catch Floyd Mayweather with 50-0? No, no. He's 36 now, man. 40 years, what, he's going to be 40? How long you think he's going to fight for? How many? He ain't got 9 fights in him. You know how long it would take to schedule 9 fights? If you're fighting once a year, 9 years. How about that? How about that? If he fights once a year, right? His nine, he ain't got no 9 fights in him. Nah, not even if he fought 3 times a year, and he goes back to, I don't know, he mysteriously goes back young again, which would age him out to 39. He would have to do 3 fights for 3 years consistently in a row to catch Floyd Mayweather. He's not catching him. He's not catching him. He ain't catching him. Now, the Japanese superstar, could he catch Floyd Mayweather? Well, he's at 26 fights, right? He's 30 years old. Roughly, you fight 3 times a year or twice a year. Okay? So you got, that's 9, 18. That's 6. That would be 18 compared to the 36. That would be 4. Shit, that would be 48 fights. That would only be 48 fights. He would need 2 more fights. The Japanese superstar has a way to go to catch fucking Floyd Mayweather. He would have to step on it. Well, not really. Well, that's 6 years. That would mean he would be 36. If you fought 3 times every year, that's 3, 3, that's 6, that's 9. 9 and 9. Yeah, that's 18. You put the 18 times 26. Yeah, that's 48 fights, bro. He would have to fight 36. He would have to fight until he's 37. 37 years old, and he would have to get 2 more fights. But he would have to consistently fight for the next 6 years in a row, 3 times a year to catch Floyd. For the next 6 years, he would have to fight 3 fights a year. The Japanese superstar just might not catch Floyd in 50-0. Just might not catch him. I'm not sure if he'll be able to catch him, but Floyd might have got him because of the hiccups with the Corona era. The Japanese superstar never took tune-up fights. So, because of the fact that he never took tune-up fights, that also hurts you in your record. Because there's a lot of fights in between Floyd Mayweather's that, these guys padded their stats, but they weren't for title fights. So you were able to pad up your stats and get a lot of wins in and knock a lot of opponents out and stack your records. But the Japanese superstar didn't want to stack his record. The only thing he stacked his record with was the heads of champions. He stacked his record that way. But it's a much harder way to stack a record. You just don't got a bunch of tomato cans coming inside of the ring, and he just constantly knocking these guys out, you know. So that's the math on that one. That goes to show you that record that man got right there is not an easy record to accomplish. There's not a lot of fighters. There was a lot of fighters like Julio Cesar Chavez that got outstanding records. I think he went like 90 professional fights and he actually dominated Floyd Mayweather's record, but since there's not a lot of records on his earlier fights, his record comes into question. But he did, and then his level of opponents and shit comes into question too. But yeah, there has been a lot of men that were really active, but when you're that active, you do fight a lot of tomato cans, and that's why your record is not consistent in title fight. You see, um, and as for case in point, a lot of gentlemen saying that belts and divisions do count in the pound for pound ranking. I'm here to tell you that's bullshit. That does not work. Okay, and I'm gonna prove it to you right now. So you mean to tell me that Marvelous Hagler is not a pound for pound fighter in his time? You mean to tell me that Marvelous Hagler should never be counted in the equation? You out of your mind if you say yes. You know why you can't, right? Consider, according to you, Marvelous Hagler never moved up in weight to no weight division. He never became multiple division world champion. He fought his entire career in one division. That doesn't mean he should be disqualified from the pound for pound list, right? He was fucking the best, right? He was one of the horsemen, right? So that's why you can't do that. You got to establish a set of rules, and it should be based on skill only. And for the pound for pound list, that's how I feel about that. Quoto, what up? Boxing fan, sometime. What's up? I hope. Uh, Yeah, I hope that's what I'm talking about. We need to push each other. I hope it's fuel for Bud Crawford. He's seen that the Naoya Inoue kid is already scheduling another fight. I know this shit gets back to his ear. He needs to speed things up, bro, and catch up and push Bud Crawford to fight at least 2 times a year. From here on in. It's so beneficial for him, but every time he goes into the ring, he's taking a risk, right? One, financially, he's going to make more money. You fight twice a year, that's two big paychecks right there. You see? And you're adding to your legacy. You're adding to your record, you're adding to your winning streak, and possibly obtaining more titles. He could move up to the 154. You see, and that's why I like the Japanese superstar because he's so good for boxing in so many different ways, right? Other fighters are going to have to start taking notice and saying, shit, if I want to be considered a champion that dominant, I'm going to have to put up some of this shit right here. And you kids that are looking up saying, man, one day I want to be just as good as he is. So he's raising the bar of excellence in boxing. If you're not out partying and fucking around in nightclubs and all that other shit, look at what you could be doing if you stay focused. I always talk about this that the window in boxing is very small. Very small. The average boxing career, 10, 12 years, right? Right? Some people don't never make it 15. Never mind a 20-year career like the legends, like the Floyds, and like the Manny Pacquiao's. And not to keep it, everybody doesn't age the same. Meaning, by 25 years old, you could have already lost a step. Some men age like wine, real good. The Floyds, that they were able to perform at a high level later in their career. Mind you, that everybody doesn't age the same. So the window as a professional is even smaller. You see? So you really don't got time to be fucking around. And the Japanese superstar is proving it. He's proving if you really stay to your job and you stay disciplined and you dedicate yourself, this is where you can get if you have skills. So the men and women that have skills, the Devin Haney, the Tank Davises, and I speak of Tank Davis, man, he has all the skill in his world, like a Shakur Stevenson too, in fact, but they're not. I don't know what it is with these new kids that are under this impression or this delusion, I think, that belts don't matter. How can you even spread that 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 hate or that narrative in a sport that you're saying, you know what, the highest honor in the sport that I'm in doesn't matter? Come on, man. Well said from a man that doesn't have a belt, you know? And these guys got to really start acknowledging it because at the end of the day, I'm afraid that Tank Davis is going to go down as just a great fighter. That's it. With what he has and his credentials as of right now, he's 30 years old going into 31. He cannot walk into the Hall of Fame. Brother, if that man try to enter the Hall of Fame, the alarms will start going off. They're going to be like, bro, you don't meet the requirements. One weight division, one title. How many times did you defend that title? None? So you only have one real title that you never defended. Bro, they're going to kick him out the Hall of Fame. And that's a damn shame because that man is an excellent elite fighter, man. And he should not end his career like this. He needs to really pick it up. I don't think you guys understand. It's all fun and games while you're around winning these fights for money. You know, it's all fun jumping on social media, talking shit back and forth. But all of a sudden, you're going to turn old and you're going to turn around and you're going to realize you really didn't accomplish that much. You might have got a few dollars, but when, you know, look, kings fall. Kings will rise and fall. And there'll just be another king in another few hundred years. But legacy, legends, that never dies. That never dies. The men and women that have cemented their names in legendary status, they'll be talked about. To be a great fighter and at the end of the day to end your career and only be considered an average fighter because you didn't achieve much, how long you think people are going to talk about you? You ain't did shit. You know, that's why kings always fall. Ryan Garcia want to put on that crown. Kings fall all the time, brother. But legacy lives on forever. That man right there, this man right here, will live on through the times of boxing. And so won't this man through the times of boxing, bro. What they did for the sport, that, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I think men like Tank Davis really need to step it up. Well, I've talked a lot in this episode right here. Let me check with you guys and see what you guys got to say before we end it. Just in case we got some combo. You know what I'm saying? Let's get this. What we got here. Let's check this out. So, TM, what's up? Nah, they're not catching Floyd, unfortunately. You know, I did the math on a lot of it. You know, I forgot it, but I know that I'm right. It's going to be hard to catch Floyd. I know Terence Crawford was never going to catch him. Not at the pace. Once he started slowing down, there was a point in time everybody thought he was going to catch him. Man, listen. Before that Corona epidemic hit, Terence Crawford, you know, he could have been on pace to catching Floyd Mayweather. Between those 2 years of the Corona epidemic and then slowing down trying to pursue Errol Spence Jr., that hurt Terence Crawford at the tail end of his career. Those 6 years that he chased Errol Spence Jr. to unify all those belts was 6 years wasted, if you ask me. You know what I mean? Laser Beam TM don't need to collect names. Naoya is collecting belts. Remember, it's all about the belts. Names don't mean shit. He's fucking right. He's right. You know, you can have a big name. Ryan Garcia has a big name. But beating Ryan Garcia earned you what? You beat a name? Or you beat a guy? What did you earn? What did you win? Just the name? Oh, I beat that guy. Okay, you beat him. But in the Hall of Fame, it's not going to say on above date and time, he beat that guy. So what? So what? Who cares about your name? It's about what you accomplished. It's about these right here. It's about this. When you beat that guy, did you happen to win one of these? No? Then shut the hell up. Who did you beat for one of these, and how did you get one of these? That's all they want to know at the end of the day. I mean, big names, big moments in the moment. Yeah, it's big. Yeah, it's big. Yeah, Terence Crawford beat um, um, the Cuban superstar that had a gold medal, right? Okay. Um, and then after Terence Crawford beat him, I believe everybody else knocked him out. Euro Gamboa. After Terence Crawford knocked him out, I believe he went on a 4-fight losing streak right after that. You know, there's a lot of fights that Terence Crawford fought. A lot of fighters, the Sean Porters, you know, he's beaten the who's who. It seems like basically everybody that Terence Crawford beat, Errol Spence beat. They truly cleaned out their division. They had to fight some big names to make sure that they were the last two men standing. You see? And in some cases, I've talked about this. Some of us can fall under the misconception that why didn't Devin Haney fight Tank Davis back then? Why didn't he fight Shakur Stevenson or vice versa or this and that when they were real young in their career? Right about now, they should be fighting each other. But back then, I knew that Team USA wasn't going to put Team USA to take out Team USA. They had to wait for those fights to mature. And they had to see out of the 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 men that Team USA was sending out in the front wave, who survived, who got knocked out, how many fighters we lost, and when the smoke clears, what do we have left? Then Team USA goes from there, just like Errol Spence and Terence Crawford did. They cleaned everybody out until it was only them two. There was nowhere else to go. You see, and then Team USA fought to see what USA fighters was going to represent in the big fight. So Sean Porter, Terence Crawford duked it out, to see who was the best American fighters. And then the top American fighters met themselves, and it happened to be two American fighters. It could have been anybody. It could have been one American fighter, or it could have been American fighter. But whoever cleaned out the divisions. And that's the way it's done, my man. If you want to see it, that's the way it's done. That's the way it should be done. And if things work out the way that's the way it should play out. And Devin Haney and Tank Davis could be meeting up like Errol Spence and Terence Crawford did. But somehow, some way, one went this way and one went the other. One of them are ducking one of them. Once you get to a certain point, Team USA is like, yo, bro, we need to fight each other now. And somebody just was waiting around for somebody else. If I'm being honest, I love me some Tank Davis, and I think he's got all the skill in the world. But what's he doing? What is he doing? See, some people might think that Tank Davis got enough to beat Devin Haney. Okay? And some people might say that Devin Haney's scared of him. But what does your eyes tell you? What is Devin Haney doing? Shit, he unified all 4 belts. He was the king in that weight division that this guy's claiming to be the toughest in. You're claiming to be the toughest person in the weight division, the most dangerous, then why the hell does this guy have all the belts? He's already left the weight division, moved up to another weight division, and secured another belt while you're being emailed your super status. Which, in fact, you guys do know that Tank Davis accepted it. He is now the WBA 100 and WBA 135-pound super champion of the world. He has been officially upgraded. And yes, it is true. He did not win the belt in the ring. He's no longer the regular. The WBA wasn't playing with his ass on the third phone call. The first phone call, Tank Davis denied it. He said, "No, I don't want your belt. You're not going to give it to me through an email. You're not going to have these guys clowning me." Tank Davis hung up the phone on him. WBA called that ass back and they said, well, you're not getting the belt from an email. We're just notifying you. Have a good day. Hung up the phone. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not going to give up their cash cow. You're going to want to tie your belt to him. And he's already the regular champion. It falls. It technically, he's deserving of it. But what his mouth said, you guys know the story behind it. But he's officially, the 135-pound WBA super champion. Shakur Stevenson is the 135-pound WBC champion, right? The IBF is vacant and the WBO is vacant in the 135-pound weight division right now because Haney relinquished them. So they have two belts that are vacant right now in the 135. For being a division that all the superstars just a few years ago was in, now the belts are vacant and nobody has the belt. That just I don't know. I don't know. And in other news, Duran Boots Ennis is looking to unify the titles already from Terence Crawford, meaning he secured the IBF because they stripped Terence Crawford, right? All right. And then now I believe Mario Barrios is about to be upgraded to the super belt in 147 is what I'm being told. Mario Barrios is going to be upgraded. And what I'm being told right now is that Mario Barrios and Jerron Boots Ennis are about to fight for a unification for the two belts, which is kind of good in a way, right? Because you're really building a storyline for Mr. Terence Crawford. If Terence Crawford somehow can come back and make the weight at 147, and he fights Jerron Boots Ennis, which would by that time obtain two titles, that would be for another unification of all four belts. You're going to have to give Terence Crawford for credit for doing that a second time in that weight division. He will go down in history as doing it twice, not once, but twice. Okay, so that's a good storyline right there in itself. So Terence Crawford, he has some unique fights in front of him. He just, like I keep talking about this, he needs to get out of this fight with Errol Spence Jr. and detach himself away from that man. This fight should have been done and over with. Bro, I beat you. Let me go. Allow me to do what I gotta do. You know, um, we'll see. We'll see. You know, Devin Haney, I can already know that he's already trying to schedule a big fight, but the Ryan Garcia shit is not the fight for me. It's really not. He shouldn't take that kind of fight. I know it's a money fight, and sometimes, bro, for all the wars he's been in lately, going through the ringer with George Kamboza, then fighting Lomachenko, then unify. I mean, getting the belt off Regis Progress. Maybe he needs a little light fight. A little, what I'm saying? A little something. He get out there and spank on little Ryan for a while. They were amateur partners. It'll be all familiar face. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Bye, 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 bye. That's what's gonna happen. I don't think Ryan's gonna. I don't know. You never know. Maybe Ryan knows something that I don't know. Maybe he came up in the amateurs and knows Devin Haney so well. You know a fighter and you trained against a fighter and you fought against a fighter. One, you're not afraid of that fighter. Two, you know what he can do. But he's not a kid anymore. Devin Haney's not that kid he was training with. Devin Haney has turned out to be a superior fighter in his own right. So, you know, we'll see what happens with that. All right, what's up? DM, what's up, baby? Does has Floyd any undisputed? No, nope. He was close. He was really close. But Floyd came up in a time in boxing where corruption was really running rampant in the sport. The Don Kings of those eras and the Bob Arams, and it was truly the Wild Wild West. If you think it's crazy now, when Floyd Mayweather was coming up, it was hard. These guys were doing like um meetings in the locker room, sniffing coke off of the. Yeah, you want to schedule a fight with your guy? Well, listen, all right, it was a crazy time. Okay, so this is what happened. I believe at 140, or was it 147? It was one of them. Floyd did unify 3 belts. He got 3 belts. And what happened was, I believe the sanctioning bodies got greedy. They charged Floyd 200,000 for sanctioning fees for the WBA title, I think it was, if my memory serves me correctly. And what happened was, Floyd was going to schedule a fight with the remaining person. I forget what fighter it was back then, with the remaining belt. He was going to unify all 4 belts. He was right there. He was right there. And he got the belt. He was about to pay the sanctioning fees, and something went wrong. I don't know. I'm not in Floyd's camp. I wasn't standing next to him. I don't know why he decided to do this, but he decided to vacate the belt. He didn't pay the 200,000. It's not like he didn't have the money at the time. He had plenty of money. He didn't pay the sanctioning fees. They stripped him of the belt, and then he moved up and went on, and the rest is history. But that's as close as Floyd Mayweather ever got. He had 3 belts at one time. He did have 3. He was a unified world champion, but he just wasn't undisputed. And to be undisputed back then, imagine that Pernell Whitaker was the last person to hold undisputed. No, I think it was Pernell Hopkins was probably the last person to hold undisputed status during his era. So that's how hard it was, for Floyd to do it. But Floyd was on some shit, Floyd was real loyal to the people that would show loyalty to him. The WBC might be a real bougie organization, but men like Floyd Mayweather that held the WBC title, this title right here, is what made it so prestigious. And since he was already in the WBC's ranking system and had done lots of business with them, the only title he was really willing to represent was the WBC. It was one of the first belts he ever won. I believe it was a WBC world title at 130. I think it was a WBC title. I could be mistaken. It was so long ago, so many fights in and out of my head. But he obviously, whatever point in time, he started really locking down with that organization. Once he decided that was the belt, that's really all Floyd wanted to fight for, was that green belt. Because in this business, a lot of people turned their backs on him and said no to him, and he remembered that shit. He remembered when he was like, yo, WBA, give me an opportunity. And they said, nah, we're giving it to somebody else. And he knocked on the IBF door too. And he knocked on the WBO door. But at that time, the WBO, when he was first coming out, it wasn't the greatest popular belt in the world. But he did knock on the other doors of the sanctioning bodies. And some of these people said no to Floyd Mayweather. They said that he was too small, that he wasn't. They seen speed guys like Zab Judah before, but they go out there and get knocked out. They didn't believe in Floyd Mayweather. Nobody did, right? As a matter of fact, as a joke to clown Floyd Mayweather, Bob Arum told him, bro, I'll increase the money in your fights if you can go outside right now in Madison Square Garden and build a crowd. Floyd Mayweather. That's how disrespectful he was to Floyd. He said, Floyd, you're a nobody. Nobody knows you. You think you're the best fighter in the world? Go stand outside right now. And if you build a crowd, I'll pay you more money. But the reason why the people didn't know who Floyd was in New York City, one, he wasn't from New York City, and back then they weren't promoting him like they should have been. Hitting on our champions, bro. People didn't believe in him. He had to prove to them and say and gamble on himself. What's wrong with believing in yourself? Remember, you're in a sport where you're paid to be cocky and arrogant. Because he was so arrogant and he betted on himself, people hated him. They hated you for going after your own dream. Imagine being hated on for being the best. Imagine being the hated on for being the best of what you could be. That's fucked up, huh? According to you, you were only doing your job. You were only trying to be the best in the world. Because of your persona, your what is it? What is it? Why don't they like him? Why? Arrogance? What? Diamonds? What? The money? What? Like he didn't earn it. Oh, my man Chang! Donate! How the hell did that pop up? Didn't pop up for homeboy. But yo, thank you on the super chat right there. What up, my man Chang? He says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all of y'all out there too. Likewise, baby. Man, I didn't even say Happy New Year. I got so caught up in boxing. Yo, I eat, sleep, shit, boxing, bro. Yo, thank you, my man. Round one. Where does all the fights start? They start at round one, baby. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. To collect belts one by one is, yeah, I know. Yup. Tommy, what's up? He was never undisputed, but obviously Floyd Mayweather goes down as one of the greatest fighters to ever do it. Okay, whether you love or hate him, what he did for the sport, he kept the sport alive. He kept eyes to the sport. He has four of the biggest gates ever in the sport of boxing. Had it not been for men like him, who knows what would have happened to boxing? It could have went down a real dark era. UFC could have completely took over. Men like that kept the sport of boxing alive. And for what he did for our sport, I'll always honor him as a legend and a champion. It doesn't matter if whether I like his style or what he was or this and that. No, it's what he did. He kept the sport alive. There's a lot of men and women just like him that kept it prestigious. And there are a lot of men and women that are coming up right now to continue to carry the torch for us. As long as there's men and women giving us those kind of performance and becoming those kind of champions, it keeps the sport alive, man. The Japanese superstar and Terence Crawford are picking off where legends like this left off. And they got me and you talking about it. It's really beautiful, bro. I love it. I fucking love it, man. You know? Carly, what up? Both undisputed champions, but Naoya Inoue is better pound for pound. Crawford thinks he needs to test himself again. Naoya, as for now, Naoya Inoue is the best fighter, boxer in the division. Floyd is one of the greatest. Regardless, didn't get undisputed. I agree. Listen, yeah, look, regardless, it's up to your opinion. My opinion, Floyd will always go down as the GOAT. He's going to go down as the GOAT. Just like Ali went down as the GOAT in his era, Floyd's going down as the GOAT in his era. And I believe the Japanese superstar and Terence Crawford are also going down as the GOATs in their time for their country when it's all said and done. If you ask me, the Japanese superstar is the number one best fighter in Japan. And Terence Crawford is the number one best fighter in the US of A. They are the best fighters representing their countries, aren't they? If we were to look at it like that, then they are both number one. Terence Crawford is leading the way for the Americans. He's leading the way for the Japanese. You know, right now we are judging them based off of skill, and we are judging them by their opponents and what they have done in their respectable career. The Japanese superstar is truly on a record pace. He deserves Fighter of the Year for the two performances that he's putting up against. One performance against Errol Spence Jr., against Terence Crawford, which he only has one performance. And the Japanese superstar is putting up two performances and unifying all four belts on top of that. And not to mention that you also have to count this, that we quickly bypass and jump right to his achievement, meaning the Japanese superstar. When we talk, we go right to the four belts. But what we're not taking into consideration and we're not adding to the equation is that we need to back things up, because you got to give him credit for the first two belts he won off Stephen Kubo Fulton. That shit counts. So he's putting up, Terence Crawford unified all four belts. He won the three to unify, okay? And then the Japanese has two fights. But what did he do in those two fights? First, he won two belts. Then he unified by winning another two belts. You see? So, you got to add to that. Yeah, this guy won three and unified. He won two, then fought, won two, then unified. You got to give him credit for what he's winning. You can't just go right over that and say, oh, he won four. You're bypassing something. So that's how dominant he was this calendar year. And that's what Terence Crawford had to go up against. And I believe they got it right. I don't believe they got it right on the pound for pound. But you know what? Like I said, a pound for pound is the type of thing that fluctuates. The Fighter of the Year award is the Fighter of the Year. Terence Crawford doesn't do good against Errol Spence Jr. Let's say Errol Spence Jr. takes him 12 rounds. The Japanese superstar fights whoever, whether it be Luis Narez, MJ, Goodman, or Casamera. It doesn't matter who he fights. Let's say he goes out there and knocks him out, and Terence Crawford goes 12 rounds and wins the decision against Errol Spence Jr. Guess what's going to happen? The pound for pound list moves. It's not a steady award that you get it for the remaining of the year. No. As soon as you win or lose on the pound for pound list, you fluctuate. Worse if you lose. But if you win, if you were down, you can only go up. But if you're over there at the top, you ain't going nowhere else but down. That's the only place you can go. So that's what I feel about that. There are a lot of big fights that are coming up. What are the fights that you guys want to talk about? Who do you see leading the way in 2024? What are the big fights in 2024 that are going to be coming up? I believe some of the biggest fights right now in 2024, I would like to see both the Charlo twins back in the ring. I would like to see David Benavidez fight Saul Canelo Alvarez, finally. But unfortunately, I already know who Saul Canelo Alvarez is fighting next. I don't even care to announce it right now. Because I think it's bullshit. I think he should be fighting David Benavidez. I really think so. I think he should just give us that one hurrah and then bounce. These last two fights, he has like a fight deal already set with the PBC. They have already basically determined his last three fights, if you didn't know that. Secretly. They've already basically determined them. And he is saying that he's going to fight David Benavidez, but I just don't believe it. Me for one, I don't believe it. I know that he came around, he said, you know what, I'm going to fight. I just don't believe those words at all. Until I actually see him walking into the ring with my own two eyes, that I'm gonna believe that shit. I know what he said. Man, but Canelo and boxers, well, I gotta repeat this. Boxers have said fucking hundreds of shit. How many times did they say they were gonna schedule that Errol Spence Terence Crawford fight? Boxers always say all kinds of shit, bro. So I don't believe it. I just don't believe it that he's gonna fight him. And from what I'm being told on the low, it's like bark, bark, bark. Yeah, I'm gonna fight you, and then the same shit he does all the time, and he announces he's fighting somebody else. He hypes it up, hypes it up, hypes it up, and then announces he's gonna fight somebody else. He's been saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna fight you, I'm gonna fight you, I'm gonna fight you," and then he goes this way. So I'm not gonna go down that road with Canelo right now. But sometimes he pisses me off, and I do consider him one of the best top fighters. I do of our time right now. And he is a great fighter. He really is. He does fight, the same way, but he's just truly a master at it. And he's a strong fucking fighter, and he has an iron chin, you know. And I understand that this is at the tail end of his career, but it's like they've been dangling a carrot in the fans' faces for so long with this David Benavidez and Canelo shit that I'm fed up with it. I'm just as fed up with that fight that I was with the Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. fight. I'm in the same place with that fight. I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't give a fuck if I see it or not anymore. That's where I'm at with that fight because it just seems like we're going down that road, like Terence Crawford trying to age out. Errol Spence Jr. trying to age out Terence Crawford. Put a 4 or 5 more years on him, and maybe you'll beat him. Let's age him out. I hate when they do stupid shit like that. I hate when they just don't fight like when they're supposed to. There's all these stupid little tricks in boxing sometimes. But and then we got that rare gleam of sunshine. And you got one guy that comes out and really shows he ain't touching nobody. There ain't not that much politics. There's point me in the direction and get out my way. I'm going for you. And that's that Japanese dude, man. He's on a different trajectory and he's giving us other things to view and other things and other excitement and the way he's doing it. And there's a lot of bullshit with a lot of things, but I've also talked about that boxing has evolved. It's evolving every day. It's changing every day. And it looks like 2003 is just the beginning of what's more to come. But 2024 is anything like 2023, then we're going to be getting a good year. We're going to be getting a really good year. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, my steak's been downstairs cooked for a while. All right. I want to go eat that bad boy. Let me touch up on you guys and send, I'm not just going to cut out like, yo, bud, what up? It is what it is. The reward has already been given. Hate it or not, love it or not. Yeah, right. It is what it is. It's like I said in my previous video, like 2 or 3 videos down. I made a video and I was expressing to the fans and everybody that I really didn't want to put Terence Crawford and Naoya Inoue's records together. I believe they're both elite fighters and they're both the top fighters. I already want to get to the healing process. And where do we go from here? That's where I wanted to start from. I didn't want to go down this road of explanation and bring in all this. I mean, it's interesting to know because, and then, you learn something. We all learn something through all of this. And we get to know our fighter that much more. You see? So it is good that I do break this down. All right? So I like this, right? But I'm already over it, to tell you the truth. I just want to see action, baby, and I want to see respond. I don't want to hear no more social media, wah, 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 look at me. Nah, I understand why, and I understand, but now I also understand now, Terence Crawford, it's up to you to respond for the Americans. You're representing us. What your next move is going to determine, where if you're raising the bar. Are you going to take cherry picks on the way out, or are you going to fight around Dennis? You know, that I gotta see. That I gotta see right there. That I gotta see. He fights Jerome Busanis, knocks out Jerome Busanis. I don't give two hot shits. Number one, baby. That's yeah, because that's a worthy opponent. The Japanese superstar's opponent's gotta be he's gonna take a hit. And I can see that. And I'm looking a little forward. Come on, guys. Let's be honest with ourselves. Where's that guy? Where's that next opponent that can bring his own star status to the Japanese superstar that can carry his weight, that has a big buzz, like Jerron Boots Ennis and Terence Crawford does? Tell me, wait a minute, let me check it. I'll tell you right now. Who the hell at 126 right now got a big name that he can run to and make that kind of fight at the 126? What do you got there? You got Ray Vargas, one belt abandoned, the other Alberto Luis Lopez, and that guy that beat. Not one of them guys is gonna help him carry the show. Not one. And the rest of the guys at 122 don't got belts. The biggest fight with maybe the biggest name, and technically he doesn't even have a big name, where that he's not like selling out fucking arenas, is MJ. It's Agmadalia. Can Agmadalia sell out Madison Square Garden right now? Go. Can he sell out Las Vegas right now without the Japanese superstar? Could he sell out Las Vegas? No. Could any of those fighters that I mentioned at 126 sell out the Barclays Center? Let's start a little bit smaller, like Tank Davis. You mean to tell me that in the 126, who's selling out the Barclays Center? Who? Ray Vargas? He's gonna sell out the Barclays Center? Who do you got? Alberto Lopez? He's gonna what? Who do you got? Espinoza? No. The Japanese superstar is gonna stall on a really good quality, a superstar opponent from here on in, and I'm calling it. I'm letting my viewers know. He will get some guys, but it's gonna be because he's gonna be holding the night. The entire event is gonna be held on his shoulders to carry the night through, okay, and bring home the victory, the Japanese superstar. While Terence Crawford has proper dancing partners in his future. Jerron Boots Ennis, Jamel Charlo. Shit, Saul Canelo Alves could probably throw his name in the mix. He got big names and more with him in those weight divisions up there that he doesn't have to carry the show by himself. More money, more money, more money. You see? But for the Japanese superstar, that's what I talked about. He shot his load right off the ribs. He wasn't fucking around, bro. He took out the top guys right away. And all he's left with is the hat, what was left over. The guys that weren't good enough to be at the dance. That's what's left over. Yeah. So it's not going to be smooth sailing. It's just going to be him kicking ass. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be the Japanese superstar fucking shit up, going straight down. But he's not going to have a good dancing partner, and they're not going to give him a lot of credit. They're going to, me as fight fans, come on, man, you got to get credit for every fight. He beats MJ, but and then MJ comes into that fight with what? A record of 12 fights? It doesn't look good on paper. They'll be like MJ, and the people that don't know MJ, they'll be like, well, what was his record? Oh, he was 12-9. He has 12-9 record. And you're talking about what? That was supposed to be the Japanese superstar's greatest test? A guy with a 12-9 record? Didn't the last guys that fight him have better records than that? Marlon Tapales, he had 37 fights. Stephen Kubo Fulton had 21 fights. I mean, Marlon Tapales got 12 fucking fights. Come on, man. These guys, these writers and credit, they're gonna be like, even though Marlon Tapales is mad good, his record doesn't speak volumes. And Terence Crawford got better quality of dancing partners, bro. I'm just trying to tell you what the future lies for this Japanese dude. I can see it already. And unless somebody comes out the woodwork or comes down with a big name, or starts to make a big name, where that maybe one of these guys unify, right? And they got two belts, or Foster unifies and beats Vargas. What if, what if Foster beats him, right? And what if, I don't know, somebody has three belts, but they have to start building a superstar somewhere else for the future for the Japanese superstar. And that's why I believe the Japanese superstar said, you know what, I'm going to stay at 122 because where am I going to go? I'm already the king here. Why relinquish my throne to start fighting other fights when I got a little buzz in this division already? Keep the buzz you got, make some money, and wait until you get a better opponent and then move up. That's where Terence Crawford can make his move. He can make his move in this time because the Japanese superstar made his move. When they give him the champions, the opportunities, he captured in the moment and he made his move. And in my eyes, he surpassed Terence Crawford. Well, this is where Terence Crawford's at. Now he needs to make his move like that. He's going to have to move up. Naoya Inoue is going to have to move up. We all know this, but the most important thing is for him to get that one title unification title defense for all four belts. That's important. He's going to stay at 122. Once he gets that one fight, all you need is one title defense for all four belts, and you can check that box off the fucking legendary status list. Yes, you can. Man, I hate the Neri fight. Why do you hate it? For what reason? Do you hate it because it's boring, or do you think the Neri's fight threatens the Japanese superstar? You really do you think that Neri's could beat the Japanese superstar, or do you hate the Neri's fight because he's not going to even put up a fight? Which way do you hate him? Yeah, yup. They're gonna say that those guys that he's fighting there are cherry picks. Well, they're gonna try to say it. They're gonna try to say it. In which that's why out of all the men, if I was a Japanese superstar, I would still pick MJ. Even though he has the lower record, he was a champion, a two-time champion. And he was the guy that just recently lost to Marlon Tapales. You see? So because he was once a unified champion in that weight division, it's not like he was a unified champion in a lower weight division and he came up and they said they weight bullied the smaller man or drank out the bigger man. It's not one of those cases. You see where that they weight drained a fighter. He was actually the champion in that same division. So as far as status for the men, MJ holds the best status. You see, Luis Nares, he's exciting. He's a strong puncher. He's not the most technical of fighters, but he is a fighter, and he will go in there and give it his all. That I do know about Luis Nares. He's that kind of fighter that doesn't know he's supposed to be losing. He's just gonna go out and always give it what he got. But he does have a little quit in him. He does a little quit in him. If he seems like if you can survive his storm and he gives you everything, and he's at that point in the fight where that he steps on the gas for the last time, and if he didn't get you out there, he gave you everything. He's kind of that kind of fighter. I see that he's trying to dial it back and trying to be a more patient fighter, that develops over time. Okay. But out of all of them, Sam Goodman is a good undefeated fighter. At least out of the three fighters, he would be coming in there undefeated. You see, he has a record of 17-0. So Sam Goodman, when you're selling a fight and you got the guy talking, that's a good storyline. The Japanese superstar is coming into an undefeated fighter. I could see him selling it now. You know, when they're going to sell the MJ fight, they're going to say, well, MJ's trying to regain the two titles. He lost to Marlon Tapales, and tonight he will be fighting the Japanese superstar. You see, I could see them selling that fight. You see, but where Luis Nares, you know, where's your storyline? He's defeated, no champion. You know what I'm saying? It's just, they would find boxing ways to sell you the fight. I'm pretty sure I could come up with a way right now to sell you the Luis Nares fight. No problem. But you have better storylines when it comes to Sam Goodman, which he's an undefeated fighter, and this guy was the ex champion in the same weight division. So, dollars and cents. Storylines are good for fighting. So, like I said, man, I got my snack, bro. I gotta go eat this bad boy. Listen, I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Real quick, I see Bud been typing over here. You know what I'm saying? I can't leave him hanging. Hold on. Here's the other funny thing. Even if he dominates the 126, they want him to go up like what? Like Pacquiao? But I hate that comparisons. They're not the same. And they listen, that's all they want you to do. That's all they want this Japanese to do. To finally weight bully him, drag him all the way up to a division where it's not his natural weight division, where they got him blimped up a little bit, and he's going to be fighting a fighter that's probably in his natural weight division, also being a weight bully in that weight division, and he's going to be extremely big, long, lengthy, and they're going to max out the Japanese superstar. And when they finally beat him, they're going to go, see, he wasn't the best. And that's what they're going to use by a measuring standard to say he wasn't the best fighter in the world. But they're going to avoid the fact that they don't want to talk about we never beat him in his natural weight division. We didn't go to fight him where he was the best at. And we didn't keep it fair in order to beat him. Every champion, and that's what I loved about Terence Crawford. Because believe it or not, a lot of those fighters they put in front of Terence Crawford was employed from some boxing organization, former boxing promoters that hired other boxers or secretly said, here's an extra 50. I need you to beat Terence Crawford. And he passed every test. Every time they try to derail him and take him from the status that he was treading up towards, he beat all the men that were supposed to stop him. So listen, I'm not going to say this again. Amen, bro. Salute. Much love, you guys. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for tuning in. And I'm going to have to do something about this editing. And I just can't do this like this. I'm going to have to go back to YouTube because the picture's clearer. At least I know my mic, everything's working better. I tried. I want to give you guys the pop-ups and everything, but I just think the quality's better the other way. I'm just going to have to download some other software. I'll get the hang of this, but thank you for showing me support, understanding my situation here, and helping me keep the channel alive. And on until the next one, I'm on to the next one. Peace. I'm about to go eat. I need to.